Hello, NOSA community. It is Shamika, and I am officially back. Let's see if we can get this side pony to act right. Okay, that's cool. I am back. I just wanted to come in and give a quick update. One, we have a new space. It's in progress. I know the L is missing off of goals. This is part of the move. But I wanted to come in and, of course, welcome everybody, all my subscribers. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, this is probably where we're going to start dropping a lot more information and content. Other thing is, I'm going to put that back there. Is we have some exciting things. So April went by so fast. I didn't even realize it's April 30th till it's April 30th. So there was a lot of great things happening. One of those things was I was revamping the office space to just fit my mood lighter, brighter. And also some things going on within the group, which is where we're going to start. So NOSACon. So I know some of my YouTube subscribers don't follow me on my Facebook group. So the Facebook group definitely is where I have most of my traction. But one of the things we decided last year from the Facebook group is to host a conference, and it's happening. So for all of you guys who say, I don't know if I can do it, I'm not sure, if you believe and do the work, it can happen. So we are doing our first annual NOSA conference in Atlanta, Georgia, August 19th through the 22nd at the Georgia Hotel and Conference Center, Georgia Tech Hotel and Conference Center in Midtown Atlanta. We are excited just to come together because it's been years to kind of figure out how we can potentially come together and get education and networking and have a great opportunity to really grasp what is happening in our industry. And a little bit after this, I'll talk a little bit about my guesstimations based on what's happening in the last 2 years. So I'll drop in the comments here some information if you want to join. Registration is closing soon. So we did limit the conference to allow us to have a more intimate, consistent experience so that everybody gets the things that they need. They feel like they are kind of having takeaways, not only just like information, but connections and really in-depth quality conversations. So we look to make the conference engaging and entertaining, along with informative, and give you a chance to have a little bit of fun. So for all of my NOSAs who haven't been to Atlanta, Atlanta's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of things to do that as a former Atlantean, I've already done. And you're in a perfect place to do that at the Georgia Tech Hotel and Conference Center. So if you're interested in getting tickets, I'll leave the link below to register and get your tickets. Like I said, the tickets will either stop being sold on May 15th or once we reach the number that we have it maxed at. So either way, if you do have questions, feel free to reach out. The hotel and the hotel availability or the room block is also the same location, along with there are other hotels in the neighboring area. So like walkable hotels if you have like a Hilton girl. Like I feel like I'm a Hilton girl sometimes. So you can have reservations at some of those other properties. We don't have a room block at any of the other properties that are nearby, but you're more than welcome to pick whatever makes sense for you and your business. So on to our next topic, the industry, which is kind of nice to have the conference at this time because the industry has officially flipped upside down. So I've talked here on YouTube, pretty much on all of my social media about how I think this is like the year of the game changer. So like for those of us who got in the industry as NOSAs like 2018, 17, 15, or any time before that, the way the change in the industry is going to look and how it's going to happen so rapidly is like a whole big deal. Because I give the example of when we went as nurses or healthcare professionals from paper charting to charting in EMRs, that went over years. And unfortunately, and I want to say this is my opinion, there are still some doctors' offices and some healthcare systems that aren't even away from paper. But that went over years, probably like close to 5 to 7, or at some locations, a decade that the transition process happened. The other thing is, with the pandemic, it's kind of created like a hyper speed of the transition with technology and same day pay and, offering all these different types of fringe benefits to healthcare workers and, employee spotlights and, getting allowances for scrubs and all these different pieces kind of happening at the same time. And it's really turned an industry that one needed it into a more competitive industry when you think about what counterpart industries that are at this size offer. So the best example I can give when I talk about counterpart industries is, well, I'm really just talking about like tech. So like the compensation packages, whether you're a tech employee of a company or a contract working for a tech company, are not only more lucrative, which we're of course seeing that, but they offer so many other types of benefits that I feel like healthcare staffing is starting to delve into. They're starting to delve into, we see a lot more of your marketplaces. We see a lot more companies, and one is doing it, I feel like they're doing it in May, non-traditional benefits. And your traditional benefits are your health, life, your short-term disability, long-term disability, maybe life insurance, depending on the company. And then maybe there's like a bonus after so many hours. So as we went into time a little bit further, you've seen, hey, if you work so many hours, you get a bonus. If you pick up weekends, you get a bonus, those types of things. During the pandemic, essentially any work you did, they tried to either create within the work 48 hours, bonus, or 60 hours, some sort of bonus. Now I've seen, and that's what makes it so exciting. You work 600 hours, you're getting $600. I've seen a company that does that. We have another company that I've seen where they're taking their staff on a cruise, which is new. More and more companies are offering what I was referring to a little bit earlier about a marketplace where you can actually shop. So you can shop for, different types of clothes and shoes or paraphernalia specific to that company. So instead of me rocking this really cute headband that has nobody's name on it, I'll be rocking a headband that says the NOSA group, or I'll be wearing, sunglasses, or what are those called? Goggle glasses that'll say the NOSA group. So t-shirts, we saw a lot of the t-shirts um, being brought out into the industry with the information of your company that you're working for. And really, that's a great way to market your business because you're able to do it seamlessly. Like the person wants a free t-shirt or a discounted t-shirt or scrubs or shoes or what have you. And then just to put the icing on the cake, you put your name on it. And then, of course, people, start the conversation from a staff level, like, who is that? How do you like working there? What is that like? How much do they pay? What types of jobs do they have? So that's part of it. But then you're also seeing just better packages. I know there's a lot of conversation around, will the pay or did the pay drop since the pandemic? Yes, of course it did. We knew that was going to happen. But there are some areas that are sustaining quality pay packages that are not pandemic pay packages, but higher than their packages were pre-pandemic. So I haven't looked at the numbers. If I get a chance to, or if I see some information that kind of talks about the numbers, I'll definitely share it. But I think as healthcare professionals, on one side, you have to look at the trend of it all, right? And then on the agency side, as NOSAs, you kind of have to also look at the trend of it all. So did the pay rates drop post-pandemic, assuming that's where we are post-pandemic? Yes. We've already discussed that was going to happen. What the pandemic prices or pay prices were happening wasn't sustainable. But have those rates dropped lower than pre-pandemic is the bigger question. So that's where I was kind of talking about as far as, what that looks like. So you're seeing a lot more of that. You're seeing a lot more nurse-owned staffing agencies out there. They're just like popping up like popcorn everywhere. Our group has grown leaps and bounds in a matter of just a few months. And then also you want to think about, with more business ownership happening in our industry, what does that mean for healthcare professionals? So we always have the pool of healthcare professionals that are already in limbo to kind of say, hey, I can retire, or I can do my own business, or I can do both. But now we're seeing a lot more people that are kind of somewhere in the middle where they still want to work, but they also run a business, or they also operate like maybe as an influencer or something along those lines that creates a secondary income. So one of the great things that I think about when I think about what the pandemic kind of left behind was the fact that, one, they're creating a better balance in the industry because more people, whether they're healthcare professionals or not, smaller businesses are opening up healthcare staffing agencies. And with that being the case, the larger agencies have to accommodate whatever they're doing. So if I'm a agency owner and I have headbands and glasses that say the NOSA group, the NOSA group, the NOSA group, the other competitors need to be in play to offer something similar. So that creates an equal playing field. Um, Kind of balancing out the vendor management system. A lot of NOSAs were able to kick open that door that was, held pretty tightly when it comes to vendor management systems, which just offers really access to more jobs. Um, we've seen a lot more people transition into like all of healthcare, not just your nursing and nursing support staff. A lot of them do lab techs, some of them do phlebotomy, pharmacy, some also do environmental services or dietary, which are all lucrative industries. You just kind of have to get your foot in the door and figure it out a little bit, and figure out the requirements, the credentials, if anything, certifications and things like that. So it's creating, one, a more sustainable business amongst NOSAs over time. And then it's also allowing us to tap into areas that maybe we weren't in originally when we started the process. And then, of course, the last thing is definitely feel free to follow us on our Facebook page, as well as our Facebook group. We are making some transitions, and with the whole talk about technology and even technology with regards to social media, we are moving our Facebook group over the summer into another platform. So since you guys are here on this platform, YouTube, check it out. It's called Circle. And this is not an ad, but Circle is a platform that allows groups like ours and our social media connections and followers to come together in what I think is a more organized and more seamless environment, where if you were to say to me, hey, Shamika, I'm in California or I'm in Arizona and I want to host a meetup, that's something that you can put on this particular platform and it kind of get out to the masses. So I'm excited to improve and increase our technology as a business so that we're able to really be most effective. As I know, many members, some of you guys here today, have jumped into the Facebook group, and maybe you're not on Facebook, which was a reality check for me for some people. But also, it's hard to maneuver through some of the Facebook groups. So I want to help that process because everybody jumping into the group isn't in the same place, doesn't have the same questions, but we want to make sure that we're giving you the most valuable guide along the way. Over the last 6 months I've been here on YouTube, I've done videos about getting started. I've done videos about marketing and how to get your contract in 90 days. We talked about tech. I'll share the video I did on the Facebook Live in the group about kind of how we've transitioned over the last 3 to 5 years with regards to technology and the systems we use, and a little bit of the reasoning behind it, because it's important as a new business owner, NOSA or not, to really think about, is this something that I can do? Is this something that technology can do? Or is it something somewhere in between? So a great example of that would be when we first started our business, we did the scheduling. We did fill in the Excel spreadsheet, send the text message, send the group text, so on and so forth. That's one very time consuming. But because there's so many apps, and as like I said, at that time, we got privy to some of the apps that were out there, it only made sense that we outsource that to an app. That wasn't something that we could sustain. Scheduling can be its own beast, even on site at facilities or hospital systems. So doing that in-house was a bad idea. So thankfully, we use Microsoft Office, who had a feature, which they don't have anymore, called Staff Hub, that did it for us, because the actual system was set up with the idea of restaurant staff. And we just tweaked it a little bit and was able to use that in our business. So that's something that I would highly recommend people to outsource. Two, accounting and payroll stuff. That's kind of depends. One, are you going to have an accountant in house? Then maybe you should start off that way with somebody internally. So you're kind of doing it yourself. But if you're not sure what you're going to do, then using a system in addition to yourself, like a QuickBooks or ADP or Paychecks, might provide a little bit of support until you reach the point that you're ready to bring some of those services in house. And then finally, because a lot of people asked about it, the whole process of a back office. So I'll do a separate video that talks about back offices, but the back office really operates in different capacities based on the type of agreement you have. But the most traditional setup is around them doing your payroll, human resources, scheduling, credentialing services. So you pay them a fee, you send your employees their way, they'll credential them, background, drug screen, education. They'll set them up in human resources system, their payroll, their taxes, their direct deposit, their employee information, so on and so forth. Some of them might do more in-depth, like employee relations types of stuff where they'll handle your training, your policies and procedures and stuff like that. And then the last part is around doing your actual payroll processing. So the payroll processing would include your processing of your payroll, sending out invoices to your client, potentially, issuing payments to your staff members via direct deposit, or if you have like a pay card or something like that. So that's the traditional one. Like I said, later on in May, because we're around the corner in May, I'll do another YouTube video that talks about what back offices can and can't do, kind of the pros and cons. So we didn't use the back office. I was the back office. Mostly because I already had the experience. So it's kind of up to you. So kind of determining what makes sense is really good early on, and understanding that just because you started one way, right? So we started doing manual staffing doesn't mean that's where you end up. So you kind of have certain things in your business that you grow into. And then there are certain things in your business, and this is just my opinion again, that I don't outsource. So marketing my business, or really the business development side of the business, is not something that I outsource to others, because I want to do that. So maybe in time that'll change, but it's always something that I'll do either myself, but for sure it'll be something that I always do in-house. So as I mentioned, thanks for hanging out with me this Saturday for a quick April update. It's April 30th. April has gone strong and long all month. And I'm excited for you guys. For those of you guys who will be hanging out with me in August at NOSACon in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Georgia Tech Hotel and Conference Center, we plan to have a good time. I'm excited to meet everybody and really put names to faces. I think so many people from the group I've connected with over the phone or via a Zoom, and it's been a great conversation. So I am excited to see you all in person and find out what's been happening in your respective businesses. I'm totally big on collaborating and networking. So this is just really an extension of that. We will be bringing in quite a few healthcare partners that'll be sharing their information on their expertise in the industry. We'll be having a NOSA panel. We'll be having a meet and greet, networking, cocktail hour during this weekend. So there'll be a lot of opportunities to get some information, share some information, and potentially collaborate with other NOSAs. We'll have NOSAs coming in from pretty much throughout the United States, and we totally get it, as Atlanta and any location we would have picked may not work for everybody or the time of year. So we will be in attendance as a company at a couple of other events. So we will be at TravCon, which I think just released their tickets on last week, the end of this past week. So if you're going to TravCon and want to know more about it, check out, there is a video about TravCon. But we'll be in attendance at TravCon in September. And then we'll also be in attendance at SIA, the Staffing Industry Analyst Conference, in November, I believe it is. So definitely check out upcoming events on our website at www.thenosagroup.com and check out the tab events for more upcoming events. As always, if you haven't registered, I highly encourage you to register, as it looks like the tickets may sell out this weekend. And if you're having issues with registration, just reach out to me directly, and I'll work with you to figure out what might be happening. So thanks again and have a great Saturday.